Welcome to today's lesson. I am so glad that you're watching today. This is our third lesson in our series on biblical giving. If you've not been able to watch each one, go back and catch them after today's study and go home and you can watch them. And I want you to know this lesson today has to talk about from Deuteronomy 26 what my giving says about me. A man pulls up in his car and it's all waxed and it's shiny and it's brilliant, it's clean. And he gets out and he's showing off his car. Sometimes people look at the car you drive and say, I wonder what that guy does. What is he doing? And what he drives says something about him. For some people, it's that way. For me, we buy 15-year-old cars, so our cars say nothing about us. I'd rather my giving speak about what I do than my possessions, for sure. But there's something about people who want to show off and show who they are by what they do. When I look at our passage today, this passage introduces to us the ideas of first fruits giving, what God intended. It's a beautiful passage, and I'll read part of it in your hearing this week and read more of it next week. But your giving says something about you. Now, we talked about, and if you missed it last week, first fruits say God gets first, God gets best, God gets me, and everything I have and everything that will come to me, I need to use for his honor. We even talked about on the very first week Peter's life. In Peter's life, he took his resources and gave them to God. And this is the very first fruits principles that we're after here. Now, when you read Deuteronomy 26, understand this. Deuteronomy 26 is a conversation God is asking those who worship him when they take their first fruits offering. Remember first fruits? That was where they took the first of their fruit, their first of their livestock, their first of their gardens, and they would bring it to God. Now, when I look at this passage of scripture, you're going to see God explain that. And this in the second giving of the law in Deuteronomy chapter 26. I want you to turn there, fifth book of the Old Testament, chapter 26. There's going to be two conversations. When you think about it, it's going to sound like a parent talks. What do you mean? Well, have you ever had your kids go somewhere, and when they go somewhere, you say, this is what I want you to say. Don't say this, don't say that, and say this when you get there. This is God telling his kids, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go here, I want you to bring this, and I want you to say that. Well, actually, it's two conversations. There's the conversation that the worshiper is supposed to have with the priest. You say, a priest? I didn't think we had priests. Well, in the Old Testament, they did have priests. Today, if you're a Christian, you're a believer, you're your own priest to God. We don't have to go to a man today, but we go to God. But in this system, sometimes we would say in the Old Testament economy, which is a fancy way of saying how God did business in the Old Testament. So he says to them, I want you to have a conversation with the priest. You get your gift, you head to where I designate, and then you give this to the priest, and then you tell him these words. So that's the parent telling the kid, go here, say this, bring this, don't forget. Then there's the second part of the conversation. And this is where it gets really interesting to me. The second part of the conversation about first fruits says, God said, after you tell the priest this, then you tell me this. Wow. Well, the first part of the conversation, Deuteronomy 26, the worshiper to the priest. Second part of the conversation, the worshiper to God. So I hope you found your place. I'm going to start to read. I'll make some comments as we go. The offering of the first fruits, Deuteronomy 26. And it shall be, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and possessest it, and dwellest therein, that thou shalt take the first of all the fruit of the earth. Okay, historical reminder. God promised to give them a land. And did he? Yeah. He said, when you get to that land, and I'm giving you that land to possess, to live in it or dwell in it, and I'm giving it to you for your inheritance. So this land I promised you, I will give you. It's your inheritance. When you get there, this is the parent talking to the kid, verse 2, that thou shalt take of the first of all the fruits. So this is where we get the name first fruits. Thou shalt take the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee. Isn't that something? 2 verses in a row, God is saying to them, I gave you the land. I've given you the land. I promised you the land. The land's in your inheritance, and I gave you this land. He said, when you get there, he said, bring of the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall put it in a basket. And thou shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name. How fascinating. So God says, get all the first fruits of stuff. Then put it in a basket. Then take it where I tell you. You say, well, why would it be take it where I tell you? Why didn't he say take it to the temple? Well, if the temple wasn't built yet, they couldn't go there. Why didn't he say take it to the tabernacle? Because there wasn't always going to be a tabernacle. There was going to be a temple. There's going to be a place where God said, bring this gift. So first fruits were very important to God. The parent's talking to the kid, and he says, look, get the first of everything. You know, wouldn't it be tempting to say, first of the grapes would have to be so sweet? Or the first of the apricots would have to be so wonderful. The first of the watermelon, the first of the corn, the first of the wheat. That would have to be the best. I mean, it's that you're waited for it to come in its season, and now it's here, and you have it. Can we have? No. We take that and give it to God. Why do we do that? He said so. Why? He gets first, he gets best, and he gets me. That's the principle of Proverbs 3, 9, and 10. And here's where the implementation of how God said it was supposed to be. He said, verse 3, and thou shalt go unto the priest. You remember I mentioned that a moment ago? That shall go unto the priest that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, that I am come unto the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give us. 3 verses, 3 times, they're supposed to remember God gave us everything we have. Why is it that we only tend to remember what God's given us when we lose it? Why is it that we only tend to remember what God's given us when there's perhaps a forced day on our calendar where we say, in America, we have a day called Thanksgiving. In Canada, they have a day called Thanksgiving, and it's 2 separate dates, but we just say, okay, well, here's a government holiday. We'll say thank you to God. But he's saying, I want you to remember, I gave you everything you have. And I want you to get to the priest. And I want you to walk in there. And I want you to take your basket. And you shall say to him, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, that I am come into the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give us. Verse 4. And the priest shall take the basket out of thy hand and set it before the altar of the Lord thy God. Now that's quite interesting. Here we have the very principles of the first fruits. God is spelling out what he wants. And when I say to you, Proverbs 3, 9, and 10, here is the principle of the first fruits. Here is where it was implemented. We read the directions of this. And I'm only going to speak to you today just about the conversation between the worshiper and his God. I want to speak to you today about how God said, you do this, you carry this, you bring this, you say this. And I want to speak to you this day because what you give says something about you. You remember the illustration in the beginning? Guy drives up in the big fancy car. It's all clean. It's all polished. Wheels are sparkling. Rims. I mean, it's just everything is perfect about it. Well, that car says something about him. God says your giving says something about you. So I wonder what my giving says about me. Well, this is where I'm seeing this. The first fruits give the believers principles of biblical giving. You say, what are the principles drawn from the first fruits of biblical giving? Number 1, I think biblical giving, and this is what you could write down maybe in your notes, or if you have the handout, you could use there. Biblical giving says, I am his. Notice what the verse said. I profess this day unto the Lord thy God. Remember, the parent told the kid, you get there, you bring this, you do this, you find this person, and then you say this to the priest. And when they say those words to the priest, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, they were saying, I am his. What a powerful truth. I'm identifying with God and who God is. I am his. Saying it reminds me. Saying it aloud reminds others who are hearing it. It's professing my allegiance to God. In countries, and they have flags, and their citizens can make a pledge of allegiance, that they are allied and in agreement with their nation. And God's saying to them, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get to the priest and say, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, meaning I am his. I'm marked. I'm identified. I'm God's. That's what your gift says. You say, well, what if I don't give? Well, whose are you then? Remember Proverbs 3:9? Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thy increase. So when I look at that, I'm saying, well, you're going to honor somebody with your substance, your resources, your wealth. And so I look at my text and I look at my notes and I realize biblical giving identifies me with God. It says, I am his. The second thing I think biblical giving does is it says, and you can write this down, he is mine. Notice what it says, that I am come into the country which the Lord swore unto our fathers for to give us. So he's saying, not only do I belong to him, he belongs to me. How did that work? I have an inheritance. God promised my forefathers that I would have a land to go and I would be able to have prosperity in that land, and I would give him first, best, and me. So I got my basket, and in my basket, I show up and I say, I'm leaving the house with my best. Why? I'm his. Where are you going? I'm headed to the priest. Why? He's mine. God made me his own. So when you take any offering, and I know we're going to be talking about our missions offering, but you got to get the big picture down. The big picture says biblical giving, and that covers any kind of offering. Biblical giving says, I'm his. He's mine. What a beautiful truth. Everything I have came by a promise of God. He is my portion. He is my God. He is my provider. He is my protector. He is my God. I recognize the land I'm in came from him. That's what he was telling them. So think about it. What does your gift say? You fill out your promise card, your commitment to missions. You fill that out. I am his. He is mine. When you fill out your tithe check, I am his. He is mine. What a beautiful identifier. You say, well, okay, I got my basket and I'm giving it to God. It's not about the basket. It's about God. It's not about what's in the basket. It is about him. It's about your relationship. So your giving says, I am his. Your giving says, he is mine. Number 3, biblical giving says, God gets first. That's the third thing you ought to write down today. He said, and thou shalt put it in a basket. I know it would be easy to get really distracted. And in fact, I did. It's like, what did the basket look like? How big was the basket? What did the basket, did people put embellishments on the basket? Did they bedazzle their baskets? What did they do with their baskets? But I'm just going to have to say, it just says basket. So we go with basket. And so I get it. I pick up the basket. I am his. I carry the basket to the place. He's mine. And then we say, third principle of biblical giving, God gets first. I talked to you about this a little bit last week, knowing I'd speak about it this week. Is he getting your first and best? When we realize what this says is God getting first, the basket of first of gratitude. Putting things in the basket is a matter of consecration. It's a matter of sacrifice. It's a matter of devotion. It's a matter of priorities. To say, okay, I'm His, He's mine, God gets first. The tithe, the promised offering, the mission offering, maybe a special project to which you've committed. Maybe there's a personal love offering that's being taken today. No matter when I give, I'm saying, I'm His. I'm saying, He's mine. And I'm saying, God gets first. Is God getting the first from you? There's a fourth principle about biblical giving. I really like this one because he says, thou shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to put his name. Maybe I could make you think of something. He put his name at the tabernacle. He put his name at the temple. Where does he put his name? And there's probably two answers that come to mind. You could say his church, and you could say me. And in truth, both are accurate. He's placed his name on me. So now I look at this and I say, I am his, he is mine. God gets first. And now I look at that and say, I submit to God. We use a word in church a lot called surrender, but that's really not a Bible word. The word submit is a Bible word, where instead of I surrender says I cease resisting. I submit says I'm not going to resist at all. So now my biblical giving, I fill out my check to the church. I am his, he is mine. God gets first. Now I'm saying I submit to God. I go where he said his name. Now, where do we do our giving today? Well, we do our giving at church. My tithe, I don't pick where my tithe goes. God already selected it goes to his church. I do my giving at my church. I recognize that this is submission to God. Where do I do my missions giving? Well, I do my missions giving at church. So when I realize this, God set his name on me. And when I go to the place where he tells me to go, I give what he wants me to give. So I get my basket. And instead of saying, well, I'm going to stop with my basket along the way and I'm going to give stuff to people and I'm going to give. No, he said, go to where I said to go. Malachi, he talks about a storehouse. I like to think of the storehouse today as his church, the churches to which we go. And now I look at what my offering says about me, and my offering says, I'm his. He's mine. Number 3, God gets first. Number 4, I submit to God. I'm not taking my offering and doing whatever I want with it. Nah. What am I doing? I'm submitting to God. Number 5. This is a real easy one, and you probably already figured it out as you're listening there, right? I am his. He is mine. God gets first. I submit to God. Number 5, it's all his. What does it say? And you're to take that basket, and the priest would set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God. What a beautiful picture. We will have in our churches maybe boxes in the back, or a bag of the offering is put in, or maybe a plate goes by and you put it in. But in that moment, you're saying, it is all his. So, Brother O'Malley, I don't know if I could say it's all his. But when we give, it's a sacrifice moment. When we give, it's an altar moment. It's a heart moment. It's a public moment. It's a let it go moment. It's just simply saying, this is my moment of obedience and it's all his. I give what I give because of him. Why? Because it's all his. Biblical giving. What does it say? It says, I am his. He is mine. God gets first. I submit to him. And I love this point. It's all his. Name something that came into your life, a gain that you received that didn't come from God. You can't. Why? Every good gift is from above. And God gives to us. So what does my giving say about me when I pull up in the Jaguar of my life with my giving and I just simply say, what does my offering say? I am his and he is mine. God gets first. I submit to God. and it's all His. Group leader, today I want you to lead your discussion based on these 5 points and the struggles that we face. Ask yourself, viewer, as you watch this, are you His? Is He yours? Does God get first? Does God get your best? Are you in submission to God? Is it all His? Until next week, God bless you.